Thursday on Mansfield Today, welcome to it, and that means it's time for us to look at things involved with travel. Now there's a reason, because Mel Walker usually isn't here for travel. Welcome to the travel show.
Thank you.
Officially.
Yes.
But there is a reason that I asked her to be part of this, because this is a sort of chouard thing that I can see Walker doing. And her name actually fits as well.
Excuse me, what is so chouard about being a walker?
Well, I think it is a little bit chouard.
I disagree. I entirely disagree. Walking is one of the best things in the entire world.
I didn't say that it wasn't good for you or anything.
But it's not chouard.
Well, it's a little bit chouard. Okay. Let's
maybe going on a voyage of self-discovery. Okay.
Let's introduce our guest, okay, which I'm going to ask you to do, and I will explain to her why it's a little bit chouard.
Okay. Right. Now, I'm going to tell you how we got to know about it, because I said to Jeremy, have you ever done a Camino, or have you thought about doing a Camino? And he's like, what's a Camino? So I gave
To me,
him
it's an old type vehicle. And a Ford, you're about a Ford Camino. Skiff, my bro.
No. So anyway, I've had this thing about wanting to go and do, after reading a book called Spanish Steps, where a guy travels with his donkey and he does the Camino, which is in the north of Spain, Portugal. They've got a whole bunch of them. And it was a whole thing of going and doing a spiritual walk.
Okay, let me explain how Mel gets this story to me. She says, have you ever heard of the Tankwa Camino? Chouard.
It's hardly chouard. It's walking. Anyway, so I got hold of the people who started Tankwa Camino. I've been very aware of it for a long time. I've had a couple of friends who have done it. And to me, I think it's an amazing thing. You're walking, well, Kirsten from Tankwa Camino is going to tell us more about it. And she's going to explain to Jeremy what it's all about, how long it is, where you walk from and to, and how it all works. So good morning, Kirsten.
Good morning from sunny Calvinia.
Oh, yeah. Well, sunny-ish Joburg, but we never know what the weather's going to do up here. I've seen photographs of this, and the first thing that struck me was that they were all shapes and sizes doing this Camino. How did it get out here to South Africa?
Well, like most things in South Africa, it started around a braai, and Dani, who's the founder of the Camino, said he loved to walk from his grandfather's grave in the Tankwa to his grandfather's grave in Rawsonville. And he happened to be braaiing with a man called Charles van der Merwe. So they looked at each other, and Charles said, well, let's do it. So they started to plan and think about how it could work. And before they knew it, I think they had 30 people who were really interested. So Dani actually has never walked from the one grave to the other, because he became the driver. And then they decided, okay, let's walk from Ceres to Calvinia. So Dani thought up the idea, and it happened. And then they chose to call it a Camino because, as you know, or maybe you don't, a Camino is a way, and this walk is very strenuous. It's taxing on all levels, just like the Spanish Caminos. And it's a pilgrimage for many people. It's a pilgrimage, and it's physically hard. So that's why they chose to call it a Camino.
But Kirsty, I've seen some pictures of this, and we will have some of those pictures flashing up every now and again. Having said that, there were people of all shapes and sizes doing it. So you say it's a hard pilgrimage to make, but there are obviously people who can make it despite being slightly overweight.
Well, we've had the youngest that's walked is a 12-year-old, and they actually had someone who turned 80 on the Camino. And my take on the Camino is you have to be fit. If you want to enjoy it, you have to be fit, and your feet have to be ready. And yeah, you need to make sure that you've walked a little way, at least practiced a bit, and you don't have to be strong. So you don't. It's not like walking the Harkerville, where you're going up boulders and down boulders, where you're going up massive straight inclines. You're walking along the road, and there are hills. It's a misnomer that there are no hills in the Tankwa, but yeah, you don't have to be strong, but you do have to be fit.
Okay, well, you started out with the Tankwa Camino. There's a whole bunch of different ones now. I see that other people have also climbed on the bandwagon and are doing them. How many do you run, and how long are they?
So we have a number, and if you don't mind, I'm going to look at my notes. We have the Tankwa Camino, which goes from Calvinia to Ceres. It's 256 kilometers over 10 days. And that one's quite tough because the distances are long. So it's from 22 kilometers to the one day is between 28 and 29, which is really tough. Then we have the Bushmanland Camino, and that is a walk from Calvinia to Gurries, which goes through the amazing quiver tree forest and around Nieuwertville and up into the Kamiesberg. And that's 313 kilometers over 15 days. For all of these walks, but especially for that one, you have to get your head right. If your head's not trained, that's what makes or breaks these walks. Then we have the Hayveld Camino, which is from Nieuwertville to Wuppertal, and it's 140 kilometers over 8 days. And on that walk, they introduce you to a number of the local people who live along the way, and you see some old ways of life. It's really very, very special. We also have the Sterrewag Camino, which is 192 kilometers from Calvinia to Sutherland via the Roggeveld Mountains and Middelpos, and obviously named as such in celebration of the SALT telescope in Sutherland. Then we have two shorter walks, shorter in total distance and days, but also shorter in kilometers per day. And that's the Botterkloof Enduro, which goes from Calvinia to Clanwilliam. And it has amazing nature scenes. And you go through the Klipfontein Pass, the Pakhuis Pass, you pass the Englishman's grave as well as Leipold's grave, and that's 120 kilometers over 6 days. And the last walk that we offer is the Huntam Enduro. That's 138 kilometers over 7 days, and it goes behind the very beautiful Huntam Mountain, and it's amazing. In those 7 days, the scenery change from one day to the next. It's really quite special.
Jeepers. So they sound very wide-ranging and very all-encompassing. I take it that there's a backup to all of this. You're not carrying everything yourself. You're not carrying your tents and that, surely. Surely those are being set up for you.
Absolutely. So how it works, I think you're allowed 2 crates. All of the precise details on the website, but you allowed 2 crates, your tent and a chair, and you only carry your lunch for that specific day. The rest of your luggage gets loaded onto a lorry. We actually have 2 lorries, and the one takes the luggage and the other has water and food. And yeah, we also offer what we call a Boere high tea. So when people get to the camp, they're exhausted, and for many people, the last 5Ks, they're guessing what's the Boere high tea. So we have a range of things which we prepare, some at home, some we prepare in the veld. So from skeynskoek to donuts, brownies, muffins. And then when people get there in the afternoon, they can either choose to pitch their tent. Otherwise, we have staff who are there to help. And once you've pitched your tent, had your Bura high tea, then you really need to, most people then look after their feet and sort out their blisters, because for many people there are blisters. But you can walk with them if you look after them carefully. If you manage your blisters daily, you can make it to the end.
Do you guys make breakfast and lunch? And I mean, supper?
We just make supper. So in your crate you have your breakfast, but we offer 3 fruits every day, so you can take your 3 fruit. We also have tea and coffee on tap, or bottomless tea and coffee. So so if you want to bring rusks or something like that for breakfast, you carry your own lunch, which you bring in your crate, and we provide a scrumptious supper.
Fantastic. The whole problem is, I mean, I've pretty much traveled the majority of South Africa, but usually either in a car or in a helicopter, and you're going past everything at speed. So you never get to really engage with the environment.
Yeah.
Which is why whenever I do a road trip now, I'll go little bits and then stay at a place and explore. This way you're getting really involved in the environment and taking time out to appreciate what you're actually wandering through in this beautiful country of ours.
You see, yeah, there, she's convinced already. She's taking one for the team. Melanie, our own walker.
We look forward to hosting you here, Melanie.
I love walking. I'd love to. I've been looking at this for a long time and just thinking I need to get myself fit. I'm fit. I can walk like 15 Ks a day happily, but I need to get fit.
Yeah. And you know what? You say, Chrissy, you say, when are you coming? We can't wait to have you. I tell you, after 2 days, you'll put her in a box and send her back to Joburg.
He's nasty.
He's no ways.
Thank you very much for exposing us to this. Is there a website that people can go to find out more information?
Yes, absolutely. So our website is www.tankwacamino.com. And if you want to send the email, it's info@tankwa.com. And I can say I walked the Camino in 2013, and you really don't have to be that fit. Your head has to be right. And I can tell you, Melanie, that sleep cures a multitude of aches and pains, and you're capable of far more than you think you are. You can do it.
Oh, I can. No, I'm going to get Jeremy to come and do it with me.
Isn't it a hope in hell? Tankwa. Tankwa is spelled Tankwa.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us today from Tankwa Camino.
In the middle of the Tankwa Karoo.
Off you go, Mel.
I'm out of here.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Hey, and while we were away over Christmas, remember, we were running that competition courtesy of MSC, 3-night cruise for 2 people on MSC. And the winners of that competition are Lou Emil and Jason Nodia. Congratulations to both of you. You'll be contacted by an MSC agent very soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful trip.